So here I am with Nightreign. This is an Elden Ring spin-off. It's a roguelike in a Souls-like environment that incorporates a day and night cycle where you and two friends, or in my case, randoms, team up to take on enemies and bosses, level up, and get loot to eventually take on the big boss, the Night Lord. On paper, it's an interesting idea. I'm not a big fan of roguelike, roguelites, any of that, the genre. But I wanted to give this a shot, and there are definitely some positives, a few at least. But honestly, the negatives really outweigh them right now. I'm playing on PC, optimal settings. Visually, the game is beautiful. I love the universe of Elden Ring, the aesthetic. It's dark in some areas, yet at the same time, it's rich and vibrant in many others. Having already played Elden Ring's base game and the Erdtree DLC, I was able to jump right into it without much fuss, but the bosses do have some challenge to offer, luckily mainly the Night Lords, but we'll get to those in a bit. So aside from the gameplay, the visuals, and the weapons available, my praise for this game really ends. Like I said, some of the Night Lords and stuff are cool. I know it's going to seem surface level, but hear me out. So the game released at $40, and yeah, that's reasonable for 2025. There's so many problems, or at least there were for me, that you're going to see in this video that make me believe even that's a bit steep right now. Maybe try and get it on sale once they patched everything out, or bugs. Like I said, this is a team game. 3 players take on the hordes, and that's great, except if you happen to not have any friends who own the game, you're really not gonna have much cohesion, let alone any camaraderie, which when they launched and advertised this seemed like the point. I found myself wanting to explore just a little bit, but I felt a lot more rushed to follow my allies, make sure the storm didn't kill me, and so that I was able to actually experience these boss fights, because some of them are very cool. But not even limited to this run, I had enemies teleport, I had allies teleport. A couple of my allies would just fucking levitate through space or stiff walk. I couldn't grab loot. Some of the status buffs that you get, after you beat an enemy or things like that, just weren't being applied. The loot that I was grabbing just was not going into my inventory. There was a talisman I tried to pick up. It did not let me add that to the inventory. You're gonna see two enemies would stand still and not react really, or they would act as if I wasn't even there, and then they'd spring to life the next minute and try to kill me. There was a particular set of enemies, in fact, they'd already been killed, yet I kept attacking. They kept attacking, I kept attacking. They hit me once, but when I swung to attack them, they didn't take any damage. Not because my weapon was broken or anything, they were already dead. So dead, in fact, I guess the AI couldn't be bothered to let them know, because I was attacking them, their health bar was not appearing, I would walk away, and they would just collapse. This had already happened to me before this. Not my first match, but later matches, this had happened to me a few times. Day 2 on this run, especially, I experienced a lot more troubles. Floating again, levitating companions, unresponsive enemies again, or enemies would be dead and not getting the hint. Things like that just did kind of dull my experience a little bit. Being able to drop a pin to your location to a map is cool. It's a good start to the communication mechanics, but it's very much like the rest of the game so far, bare bones. Given the lack of real scope to the map, it felt like a detriment to not really be able to know or plan for any cool moments in the run. So I would have my teammates pin, their location to show me, and I would get there and not even really know, is our boss, did we beat the boss already? Of course it'll say enemy fell, but there's not really a lot of open communication for this run. Each run being about 40 minutes or so. At first, I'll admit that sounded kind of annoying. I do like to take my time and look at the atmosphere and things that these games provide. The enemy design is cool. Sometimes you will find stuff that you just happen to pick up and it's decent to do. So it did sound annoying at first, but honestly, when it comes to this game, because there are so many issues, at least right now, I'm of course going to be biased in terms of saying having to spend a long time in game or in the map or in anywhere in this world would definitely feel like an eternity. So I was in fact happy about that 40-minute. Pretty much, I played at least a few rounds, and almost all of them had taken about 40 minutes, give or take. But the saving grace when it comes to that feeling too is that the Night Lord is the only thing contained in day 3. So you go through day 1, you go through day 2, okay, maybe it's a little grindy. Day 3, it's just the boss. So if you get through that, you're sailing for the boss. It doesn't mean it's easy, but it does at least mean you have a clear, direct objective. I knew we were in for a treat though with this particular run when the door didn't respond. There was no prompt to let me open the door. There was no sign that the door was opening, and then I was within the boss fight. It took quite a while, honestly. So for this one, the Cerberus guy, he's no joke. Plenty of attacks to keep the whole party engaged and on the defensive. Plus, with the offensive capabilities, and then splitting into 3 separate units, definitely made for a great fight where all the members could play a part, or really should. However, like with the rest of the enemies that I had, this boss was really not very responsive. The boss was taking damage, and then it was redacting that damage, only to receive it again from a teammate. So I would attack, with my magic sword spell. He would take damage, and it would just jump back to life. The health bar would just jump back right up, keep on ticking, and then my ally would attack. Same thing, and sometimes the damage would stick. So that was very frustrating. There were times, either split or when he was the 3-headed, he would just stand there, letting us hit him for several seconds before adjusting, resuming his attacks, and then again, repeat. He would stand there, his animations would stop. It did get to the point, you'll see in the footage, he actually died before he really went down. The fight may have lasted even less time had that not occurred, so it was a quick fight, mainly in part to this, I would admit. But it was again jarring to see, our enemy failed or victory, and that he just was not getting that. He's not responding in a timely manner. So, yeah, overall, I enjoyed what the team and developers, all that, were trying to do. I get it. On paper, it very much could have been a cool idea, but I felt they really did fall short in the end. I really want to see some, real changes and improvements in the future. Duos, maybe, or more customization options to start. I know that was a big thing from my friends and I. We really wanted to see a lot more customization options through that. It's not a bad game. It's definitely worth checking out, but again, check it out maybe at a cheaper price point. Check it out when it goes on a holiday sale or publisher sale, or when you see that the big bugs have been patched out, because right now it does feel a little unfinished. It does feel a little sloppy in terms of what we've seen previously from Software releases, and it is unfortunate, but I don't want to lose hope on it. I think you guys should check it out in the future once that stuff has been patched. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and do with this review what you will. Take my advice or don't. But again, you've seen it, and maybe it'll work better for you guys. Maybe it was just I was on a crap server, or any number of things. But all right, guys, see ya.